Hello and welcome back to the GI Podcast. We have a special episode here today because it is our 2024 Gaming in Review episode, and we're joined with some very special guests here today. So to start off, I am your host, Sid Heeg.
I'm Toben Racicot.
And we are joined with Dr. Emma Vossen and Pamela Maria Schmidt. Thank you so much for joining us both today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi.
We need to work on the title of these year-end wrap-up shows.
Yeah, we really got to do that.
It needs to be an acronym.
I guess it's a game of the year thing,
No,
but not really.
I've been really trying to get an acronym for DREAD for the longest time. You can have like disrupting research equity and division, something like that, but it's like a really cool acronym for just DREAD, you know? Like,
There's no G in Dread. You can't fit games
I
in
know,
there.
it sucks. DREAD.
Entertainment, that's the E.
Ooh.
Entertainment.
Digital research, entertainment,
And
No,
and death.
I was about to say and disruption, but let's go with death. That's more my vibe anyways. And then,
So what we do in these episodes is typically talk about what we've played through the past year, things we're looking forward to, any kind of hot button topics or issues that are going on in gaming, which I feel like this year is a lot calmer than last. Or at least it's concluding a lot more calmly than last year.
it felt like it.
Yeah.
There were some stuff that like bubbled up. There was that whole Excel list that came out of being like, these are all the bad EDI games. And it was like, for the dumbest reasons, that being like, oh, you shouldn't play this game because it has a gay character in it. But the only
quote
games you
unquote woke gaming list.
and, yeah, and, the only games you can play are like golf simulators from the 90s.
Nice.
Just basically every
Christian.
single game is on that list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, it did feel like it was a much quieter year, which was interesting.
in terms of game news, I would say in terms of game releases, this year was packed.
Yes, and yet next year's only going to be worse. I guess when thinking
Define worse.
when thinking about last year, I think we were right in the season of like 10,000 people got laid off at this company, and right because it was like just on the heels of the acquisition.
yeah.
So
And
now
the-
that we're
yeah.
a year away from it, I mean, there was some stuff early in the year, but now it's like, yeah, we're just looking forward to February where there's more games to play. it feels
I mean, I feel like the layoffs did continue though.
They did.
It's just
They
that
did. They
it's just that
announced
no
Maybe
more
we-
recently.
yeah,
It
we-
was like not shocking
Yeah.
anymore. It was
No.
just like,
Not
oh,
related
okay,
to
this
it.
Well,
is
I think
like,
the thing is also like last time we talked about the Blizzard acquisition by
Yeah.
Microsoft, and considering what had happened with Blizzard and
Yeah.
the absolute horrific lawsuits that came out, it was just much more, like, oh, you got exposed for all this like horrific stuff, and now you're laying off people, right?
And
So-
I think last year was a lot of the like larger companies, whereas this year it was like also the smaller companies. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
like my partner, for example, like has someone who he knows who works in games who just announced on LinkedIn that they got laid off for the third time this year.
What?
Oh, wow,
that's
Yeah,
awful.
so got a games job, got laid off. Got a games job, got laid off. Got a games job, got laid off.
What do they work in specifically?
in
I'm just
Canada or
curious.
in the US?
They're a community manager.
Oh, community management
Oh,
makes
makes
sense.
sense, yeah.
I've seen a
the
lot
first to go.
of jobs, at least on LinkedIn right now, looking for devs and producers.
Yeah.
Well,
Some
that makes
narrative
sense,
stuff,
yeah.
but that makes more sense. But community management, because that's all the creative humanities things are always the first to get
Yeah.
cut in this current societal
mean, it's
makeup
like
of
the
what we
marketing,
value.
It's the community management.
It's research.
It's the research.
Yeah.
And then they want to just go pure into like dev crunch, which just never gets addressed.
Also,
Yeah.
a lot of like I know a lot of artists who like it's like they still need the artist, but they just want you to facilitate the AI. They don't want you to actually make art.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah,
we
let's
won't-
not talk
we
about
won't
AI.
open
Let's not do
No
that
one
today.
understands.
Yeah.
All right, so how about we go around, we'll talk, each person will name a game that they want to highlight this year. We'll start with Sid, and we'll
Don't
go...
get me started. I played such few games this
Yeah,
year.
that's why
and
we're starting with you.
So
we'll
obviously-
get yours
okay.
out of the way
So
first.
I'll say this now, just because it's an interesting thing that I've noticed from like the people that I'm interacting with online. Is obviously I was doing another Red Dead 2 run, obviously.
Of course.
100% run, obviously. But a
Obviously.
lot of friends that I interact with online, we started like championing. We were kind of playing the game at the same time and just like pointing out experiences that we were noticing through our like latest playthroughs, or for some people it's their first playthroughs, and just like talking about like the replayability of Red Dead 2 alone, which I think has been that a lot of people have been noticing this past year alone, because there was a YouTuber, Video Game Donkey. He's really big.
oh, he's great.
He
He's very
posted
funny.
like a 21-minute long video about talking about just how good of a game Red Dead 2 is. Not only for story-wise, but the graphics just hold up really well. And of course, it's a little bit buggy because, it came out in 2018.
Yeah.
But like,
those are features.
Yes, they're features. We love them. But like,
Personality.
how well that game holds up to now, that people are just like, yeah, I want to go back into it because the story is just that engaging, which I think is just really, really cool. So
is that why you replayed as the story?
yes,
Even to 100% it with all the little
everything.
exploration
It's almost
and-
like narrative matters.
yeah. Oh my god.
No, it doesn't.
It's no. I
That's
just
a controversial.
I-
We're going to talk about
opinion.
Balatro. Narrative does not matter.
Between the two of us.
Oh my
Toben.
God, there's narrative in Balatro.
No, there's
Don't
not.
say that. I disagree.
Where are the cutscenes, Emma?
Narrative is not cutscenes.
I know.
Absolutely.
I'm
not.
trolling.
Paratext.
So how many times have you done 100% Red
7.
Dead?
7 times. And
I don't know if I've played a game 7 times.
That's
have.
my thing. Is like I like replaying games because that's value to me. It's just that I find comfort in the story. I like the story. I like re-experiencing it and re-feeling those feelings that I've been feeling for a while and just like having fun with that. But that wasn't the only game I played. The second game I played was Horizon Forbidden West, and that was
Just
more
a
for
different Red Dead.
just a different Red Dead. But,
Same
like,
model.
It's also just like I already played through it once, but I was trying to come back into it because the game just doesn't hold up as well to I think the original, to Zero Dawn. I think because the story is just
Pam's voraciously shaking.
Well,
No,
because
we've
actually,
talked about
well,
this.
also Sid and I played when
it first came out, when you
came
played
out.
it,
I
yeah.
bought it for PS5, and this was still when it was
It was a
winter
while ago,
because
yeah.
Sid and
it
I
was winter. Yeah.
Sid and I do this weird thing. We started it during the pandemic where we play games often, and especially in the pandemic, Sid has Xbox stuff.
Right.
I have PlayStation stuff, so we're on opposite sides of the spectrum, the two genders of gaming, so to
The two
speak.
genders,
Actually, no,
yes.
the third is PC.
Okay, what about Nintendo?
Yeah,
That's the
that's
fourth one.
Nintendo.
That's in Japan.
Now what about mobile?
But anyways, of North America, there we go. That's a little bit more clear, but still a bad example. Anyways, but point is that like we would hook up our machines to computers and stream through Discord,
Right.
so we could each experience the story. So since it was a PS5 exclusive, right?
Oh,
When
right.
it first
Yeah,
came
that's
out,
right, yeah.
and we both played the first game. I was like, let me play this, and you can watch, and we hated it. I was I was like shocked when you actually
fun
purchased it.
for a
The
good
final
fourth.
15-minute cutscene, which was
Oh, God.
an information dump at the base, the bad alien storyline, and I
Yeah.
remember when you were like, "I'm gonna buy it," I was like, "Are you crazy?"
No,
Like,
it's because the
we
game
sh-
mechanics appeal to me. When I
Oh yeah, the game mechanics are awesome.
in my
but-
experiences for say Red Dead 2, I will watch the cutscenes every single time.
Yeah.
I love it. Forbidden West, forget it. I'm skipping everything. I skip through anything. I just don't find the value in the cutscenes or any of the dialogue in that
The
game.
story was
I
trash.
like exploring the world, the resource grinding. That's like fairly good.
The environments were
environment
very cool.
is great.
Yeah.
The story, there's a lot missing there. Not only that, but I feel like also for Forbidden West, they jammed way too much into that game
Yeah.
in terms of game mechanics. Because of like when I was going into like my second playthrough, which I wanted to do a 100% run of, I realized like obviously there's a lot of things I had to figure out. Like they've got like new fighting mechanics
Yeah.
and whatnot. I barely use like half of them.
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
so they have so many new weapons. I barely use half of them.
Is this the one with the hang glider too?
The hang
They
glider
just fully
is
Breath of the Wild.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's good.
But like they have so many new weapons that I just do not use.
I remember thinking, how did I play like the first game in this series?
Yeah.
And yet, like I'm starting the second one and I have no idea what I'm doing.
I remember there's this one channel. I forget their name, but they did like combat reels for
nice.
Forbidden West and obviously for the first one, Zero Dawn. And I remember watching the Zero Dawn ones, and that made my gameplay better because I was like, oh, I didn't know you could
Yeah.
be this creative with it.
I remember
Yeah.
seeing
So
some of
that one
those.
I used more as like an inspiration, and then I could recreate that, and I felt better at the game and stuff. I went back to that channel for Forbidden West because I was like, I don't know what to do. There's too many options. It's confusing, and I was watching that then as like an educational tutorial, not as an actual,
Yeah, it's just like there's too much happening in that game.
way too much.
Way too much. And it's just like there's just so many things. It's very overwhelming. And it's just like I feel like I'm like accessing like a third of the game because I don't care about the other 2/3. Like they're either useless to me, confusing, or it's just I don't care.
So you're playing this on PC?
Yeah.
The complete edition?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Did
so-
it crash for you? Like you couldn't play it for
Well,
a month?
yeah, when it first launched, it took forever for me to figure out how to actually play the game because it kept crashing. So I had to obviously go to Reddit because they're the ones who actually have the solutions.
Of course.
And then fiddle around with a million different graphics and
Yeah.
settings to
Turn down the water.
turn
off the
down
grass.
everything,
Yeah.
like everything low, shadows
Yeah.
low, textures low,
Turn off
and
motion
then
blur.
yeah,
That's always
so it's
number
better
one.
now than when it first launched because that's usually how it goes. But like it was hard to actually play.
Yeah.
The first
Did you
time.
play the DLC?
No,
you
because
don't,
I hated
you
the
You
plot.
can't stand it. What is the DLC like?
It's good.
Okay,
I
that's
still
really selling me
Define
on it.
good.
Frozen Wilds is still much better.
Yeah,
like
that's what I think,
Frozen
too.
Wilds feels like such a fleshed out DLC.
It's a crazy speed
and
run.
Burning Shores is half the size of it.
Really?
Because
It's
the base game's bigger,
or
just
I think it's
just
because the
cranked it
base game for Forbidden West is so big
Yeah.
that they just didn't have the resources to pour into Burning Shores.
It was probably something they cut from the original storyline, considering how much was packed.
Probably, and it
'Cause that
just
game
and
should
it's
be
also
split
just
into
like
two.
Yeah.
you get to explore like a new tribe within Frozen Wilds, which is the Banuk, which
Yep.
is it was so fleshed out. Their world was so fleshed out, the story was so fleshed out, and it was so engaging. And then this one was just not great. I don't know. It's just like the writing was just lacking and everything for everything. Like some of the characters really stand out, and there's some story beats that I appreciate, but just like there's just nothing really there for me to say I'm playing this for the story rather than playing for the mechanics. I'm playing for the mechanics in Forbidden West.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I was so excited for it that like I started playing day one and like I stopped like 20 hours in and I have no desire to ever go back. Like I got to I did the Vegas quest and I was like, you know what? I am not having fun. Like I have a kid now. I have limited hours I can play games. I'm not finishing this.
I wrote a
It's-
rant about it. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it just feels it's a game that gives more into the grind of those open world
Oh,
games.
that's not good.
Which isn't fun. Like when I was trying to do the grind to upgrade different weapons, because now I'm going into an ultra hard new game plus mode, which is hardest difficulty. So I want all of my weapons
Gotta
and
get those
armor to be
achievements.
at the level that they need to be.
Right.
I was grinding resources for 2 weeks to get everything upgraded.
I need to introduce you to Cheat Engine,
Probably.
which you might not be able to use on something like that. Elden Ring kicked me out the other day because it's like, whoa. You can't give yourself runes. I'm not playing with you anymore. And when you played it, was it like back to back with something like Tears of the Kingdom? Was it just like too much of the same flavor, or was it?
I think it was that like the like for Sid, I think a big part of it is the gameplay is like super appealing to you. And like the gameplay for me in the first one was like not the appeal. It was that I thought that I really enjoyed the story in the first one and the story in the second one sucked. So it was just like the whole reason I was interested. Like, I feel like if it was my style of gameplay, I could have dealt with a crappy story and still enjoyed myself. But I was just like, no, this isn't
So
worth
how would
it.
you have fixed it? Made it more like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom? Made it more like something else? What was the remedy for you to stick through to the end?
I think
Mechanics wise or narrative wise?
Either.
I think just narratively, there was just they were trying to do way too much. There
It
was way
like
too much
two
going
games
on.
in one
Yeah.
in terms of story. Like they should have dropped the entire
Alien
Far Zenith.
plot, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it needed to be like massively simplified.
Yeah.
And the evil lesbian lover, right?
Evil
No.
lesbian
Ugh.
lover. Listen, we all enjoy Carrie Ann Moss because she was the voice actor and the actual actress for the evil lesbian. I don't even remember her name because that's how little I. Oh, Tilda. There we go.
I was about to say it starts with a T and it's Dutch.
It is Dutch. Yeah, it was just way too much of a story, and then you get these exposition dumps
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that are like 20 to 30 minutes long.
yeah, that's too much.
That's way too much.
not
and
fun.
it
a
kept
lot of it happened
happening.
before the final cutscene too. They're like,
Oh,
okay,
just
you actually
fill in
need
all
all
the
the
blanks,
information.
yeah.
It was like it was 45 minutes of dialogue.
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
branching dialogue kept happening, and it's just like, why didn't you put environmental storytelling into the game to get this story out? Not only that, but the final battle felt like we've called
The
it before,
Avengers,
the Avengers
parking lot battle.
fight from Civil War. Yeah, it's just like, so the battle is just between 10 people.
Yeah.
In a separate location that you can't even return to at the end of the game, which I find really stupid.
I
Like,
hate
why
that.
can't I explore
Yeah.
this base?
Especially because
Right.
it's a massive
that was
military
locked
base or
off
whatever.
for me, which I understand why it's locked off narratively earlier in the game. But I'm
Right.
like, I should be able to go back there and check it out.
Yeah.
And it's just like the
Well,
game
it's not
automatically
fleshed
turns you back
out.
around.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the Avengers thing is actually a good comparison for me because it's like I always say that all the Marvel movies that are like, let's bring all the different stories together. I'm like, I fucking hate this. Like, people love those movies, and I only like the Marvel movies that stick to one set of characters.
Just keep it simple, please.
Yeah.
There's too much.
Like, yeah.
All right, Emma, you've listed 5 games. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, I guess because we're talking game and review, do you want me to talk about Balatro or Echoes of Wisdom?
Either or. Both.
Start with Echoes.
Start with Echoes.
Yeah, let's talk about Echoes. I mean, Echoes was actually really good. Like, it is a super solid Zelda game. I wrote an article about it, so I'm not going to get into like all my opinions.
Plug the Emma's
yeah,
article here.
We will link the article in the description that I wrote with Sarah Stang, and you can read it. But in general, it's an extremely solid, extremely fun Zelda game. But the whole you're playing a Zelda thing is just super underwhelming. Like, it's just... And it's not surprising at all that we find out that it was not designed to be a game where you play as Zelda. It was designed to be a game where you play as Link, and then
It was
for
designed to be like a
various
dungeon
reasons.
maker, wasn't it? It was going to be their Mario Maker, essentially. That's what I've heard on the side
Very
as well.
so very originally it was that,
Yeah.
and then it just turned into, oh, let's do these echo mechanics with Link.
Mhm.
And then they were like, oh, but people who are playing it, they just want to use their sword,
Right,
so this
yeah.
doesn't work. And then someone said, well, what if we made this one Zelda? Because people have been asking for that for years. And obviously, I think that's a good idea. But to me, Zelda, I guess, like, to not, do my whole article, to me, Zelda is the most interesting character in the
Yes.
Legend of Zelda universe.
Yep.
And it made her boring because it basically just turned her into the silent protagonist. So, like, you don't learn anything about Zelda. You don't feel like you're playing Zelda. It's just...
Didn't you tell me this is like... I remember asking you how you felt about the game, and you said this is everything that people playing Pokemon have been asking for years.
Yeah, it's if they use that. I mean, there's definitely some problems with the UI and that people complained about. Like, just you have like these like 100 echoes that you've got to file through to find the one you want, and so that like if they fixed that, basically this ecosystem could work perfectly for Pokemon. They'd be dumb not to use it.
I also heard that isn't your superpower that you just turn into Link?
So you can like turn into
Like your
Link
ultimate?
for like
Oh,
short
boy.
periods of time.
Yeah.
You can't use like it's only for short periods of time so that you are incentivized to use the echoes. And in my opinion, using the echoes is like way more interesting and fun.
Right.
And I'm like a puzzle person, so like for me, like the puzzles, because you have so many echoes, are really, really complicated, and that to me is the thing that makes it such a good game. But it is, I don't know. For me, it was like, as a Zelda nerd, it was like 10 out of 10 as far as like the gameplay aspects go, but like as far as like adding to the Zelda lore and the excitement of playing as Zelda, that was just sort of, I don't know, it just wasn't really there.
Do you fight Ganondorf at the end?
I mean, it's a Zelda
It's a
game.
tale.
Yeah,
as
you don't
old as
always fight
time.
Ganondorf.
Yeah,
Some of the handheld ones you don't.
I'm not going to spoil it.
I don't want to play it, so I don't want to know.
You
They
don't
are-
want to play it?
No.
Just read
I
the
don't play
Wikipedia
games.
like we all do.
Yeah.
Tobin plays
there's-
games
and there's-
in
hold
the
on,
most
hold on.
interesting way.
Okay.
I don't know anyone who plays games like Tobin.
They're going to speedrun it at AGDQ 2025. That's how I'm going to play it.
Oh,
That's the majority of
Yeah.
how I take in my games. Is
Right.
just
Yeah.
watch somebody do all of
Speedruns.
it.
To be
in
honest,
3
speedruns are
hours.
fun.
That's how I know everything about Tears of the Kingdom. The second day it was out, I watched the any percent run. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's how it
See,
is.
whereas I've never watched anyone play a second of Tears of the Kingdom. I just I just have just spent 600 hours just hanging out, picking up rocks,
Picking up rocks, finding
cutting
1,000
down
Korok
trees,
seeds.
talking to the same NPCs over and over, listen to music,
Do a little cooking.
Do a little cooking.
yeah, fishing.
Sell us on Balatro. Why should we all play Balatro?
I mean, I don't think a lot of people are going to like Balatro, so I'm not going to sell you on it. But if you do like card games,
Yes.
like generally,
Sure.
you are going to like Balatro. Like, it's, I don't know, like the poker thing, I feel like is almost like, people might be like, oh, a poker game? I don't want to play that.
It's not
And
a
it's just
poker
like,
game,
it's
though.
not in
It's an
any way a
RPG,
poker
more so
game.
than a poker game.
Like, it's got, that's like more of like an aesthetic thing, I think. But yeah, it's just a very fast-paced, like it's a run based thing, so you can be like, okay, I'm just gonna play one run and then put it down. And I have a Steam Deck now, so it was very
transcended.
very good for playing on the Steam Deck. I have the Steam Deck only because my toddler threw my
Oh
Switch
right,
in
I
the
forgot
toilet.
about that saga. Yeah.
So I got a Steam Deck as a replacement because it wouldn't make any sense to buy another Switch right now.
Yeah, when Switch 2 is maybe coming out
Well, and
nebulously
also
in the
we
future.
do have 2 Switches, so I could still play Echoes of Wisdom on the launch Switch.
You should mod that launch Switch. Yeah, do it.
Okay, but like not until I have another one.
Oh, sure.
A backup.
And then you can have basically 2 Steam Decks.
Yeah. But Balatro is just it's insanely fun. It's so complicated, like in a good way, like not like complicated like, oh, how am I going to remember all this? Like
It has depth,
it's got
not complexity.
depth. So much depth. It makes, I mean, very similar to how I felt about Pentiment last year. I was like, I've barely scratched the surface of this.
Did I send you the No Clip documentary about that?
I don't think so,
No,
but I would
will.
like to watch
It's
it.
amazing.
Pentiment is,
It's another game I haven't played,
oh my god, you got.
but I know a lot about now.
I
Will
feel like you would really like it.
Will Balatro win Game of the Year?
No.
I don't think so, but I also I just don't think it's really fair to this Balatro guy because he.
Do you know he's Canadian?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's
I didn't know
think
he
he's
was
from
Canadian.
Saskatchewan.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he's just
hometown boy.
Just rolling in that U.S. Steam dough now.
well, and it's just it is one of those things where I mean, that's what every game dev student
yeah.
aspires to be, right? To be one guy who makes a game that no one had heard of, and then just word of mouth because it's so effing good. You just make millions of dollars,
Yeah.
and you're the only person who ever worked on it. That is,
It's like the FNAF, right? Skull Coffin.
yeah,
at the
or
beginning,
like
right?
Stardew,
Stardew,
Yeah.
or the guy who made Papers, Please.
Yes, Papers,
Please.
Yeah.
and
what is
it's
his name?
just
Paul something.
it's something that happens very rarely, and I feel like it should be commemorated. But having him in the same category as games that were made by 2,000 people,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, I feel like there's no way he could win, but it's not
Yeah.
his fault, and it's not the game's fault. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think probably the best thing for him was to be nominated because I saw an article about how things were kind of cooling off. He got nominated and he sold another 3 million copies.
Oh,
So it's
my
who cares
God.
whether he wins or not?
Well,
Right.
he's already won.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
As far as an
His-
indie
yeah,
developer is
his-
concerned, he can
yeah.
now do whatever he wants. And I can't even, if that's the game he made with no resources,
And it only took him
whatever-
2 years.
Imagine what
fast
he could
for
do
a solo
now,
dev, yeah.
with the money that he
with
has.
money,
He could hire people, right? Make his own studio if he really
Yeah,
wanted
like-
to.
or just never work again.
or just
Yeah.
not work.
I don't
yeah.
understand why.
He makes
why,
one game and then just disappears forever.
Like Concerned Ape is trying to do Haunted Chocolatier. I'm like,
I'm
dude, you have
excited for it,
hundreds of
though.
millions of dollars. Just vanish into
And
the
also,
ether
he
and do
just put
nothing.
out the 1.6 Stardew update,
Yeah.
which was huge.
Well, it's funny that he works on Stardew more than he works on. Haunted
Yeah.
Chocolatier.
I was about to say, I'm not a fan of Stardew, but I am patiently awaiting Haunted Chocolatier because that has my name all over it. But
Yeah, I won't talk about Stardew, but that's the other thing is I played an additional 200 hours of Stardew this year because of the update. So
Oh.
Pam, did you know that in Balatro they released card deck skins, and one of them is Witcher?
yes,
So you
I
can have
did
Witcher
because
deck.
I watched the Nintendo
Oh, right,
Direct
that
with
was it,
Emma.
isn't it?
yeah, and I was like, oh my god.
And they did another one, right? There's Stardew in it now, and there's
I can't remember what the other ones
there's a
are.
couple. There's
yeah.
6 total. I
but there's a
think, I can't
bunch.
remember.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else, Pikmin or Animal Well, that you want to mention? We'll just run through all.
I
of
would
it if
just
you
say,
have
Pikmin 4 was good. It's just more Pikmin,
More
which is
Pikmin.
what you want.
Is this the one with the dog?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got a dog. The dog is useful. Yeah, I don't know.
Nice.
It's just more Pikmin.
I have Pikmin PTSD from playing on the GameCube. So.
No
No,
way.
no thanks.
It's not anywhere near as punishing as playing on the GameCube. And then I just started Animal Well, which I don't know. I've only played probably an hour or two, and I'm already oh, this is gonna eat my brain for the next.
Isn't
month.
that the weird Onion game where it's you have to do one version and then there's another version within it? And or am I spoiling?
I don't know. I
things?
just
Okay.
started, so I'm not
Again,
sure.
I don't play games. I'm just.
But it's very much
tangentially know about stuff.
a Hollow Knight style
Yeah.
map, and
And there's frisbee. I think that's what you get, a frisbee weapon.
a frisbee. I don't have a frisbee
I'm
yet.
drunk. I don't
just
remember
started.
that.
I just started.
Okay, maybe you're not that far.
Yeah.
Very fun. Pam, you have a lot of things.
I do have a lot of games.
I want to talk about Elden Ring because I just rage quitted again too. Let's start there.
Okay, yes, I rage quit Elden Ring. So, I mean, for some context, I guess I could say. So I don't have a lot of time to play games anymore, as much as I did during the pandemic and whatnot, but I had surgery this year. So it was like the ideal time to sit
Gotta
down
catch
and
up.
game
Yeah.
and catch up. And I was like, oh, Elden Ring, because everyone's been raving about this. The story
I have
is so
80
good.
hours.
I was like, this is like the perfect sit down. I'm in the bed. I can't move. Put on my glasses, get my little PS5 controller out, and play Elden Ring. And I rage quitted in the first 5 minutes because of accessibility. I couldn't read the text on the screen.
Yeah.
Like, that was the biggest reason. Like, the combat was a little bit confusing. I was like, okay. Like, sometimes people don't like to give you a proper tutorial. I'll figure it's a Dark Souls like game.
It's
Like,
a
I
From
know that.
Software
Like, I'll
game,
figure it
yeah.
out.
Tutorials.
But for me, it was the text, and it's like, I would have to play this at a computer screen and like be right in front of the freaking screen to be able to see everything. But it's
Yeah.
like, you'd think on a massive screen
would
with
scale
my
up.
glasses on, by the way, I'd be able to see, and I could barely read the text. It was tiny. The contrasting color was a little bit
those
like,
early
especially
stages are weird.
like, it's
for
one of those
contrast.
games that like I think the text would look better in the dark, but I was like, it's 10 a.m. and I'm awake and I'm bored. Like, I want to play this game. What am I going to do? Like, darken my room?
Go
And
back
I
to your
can't even
cave.
read the letters anyway. So, and then I was like, am I dumb? Like, is this my fault that I can't read this? And then I
No,
started
all
asking
their
people,
games are
and
like that.
everyone's like, even Emma, you were like, yeah, the text was awful.
Yeah, I bought it on console, and like for reference, my prescription is -9 in both eyes.
Whoa.
But like I don't have any problems reading text in other games I've bought on console. But it was so frustrating that I was just like, I need to play this another way.
And it's like in the year of 2024, mind you, the game came out like what, 2 years ago or whatever. But
22.
still,
Yeah.
in the 2020s, if you are still not giving people options to color their text,
Enlarge subtitles.
make the subtitles larger, like what are
Yeah.
you doing? Even like Sid and I played a chapter or two of the Quarry for a class we were teaching with the students, and we went into the text because we're like, okay,
Right.
let's make this bigger. It's one screen. It's going to be a full class of 30 kids. Some are sitting close, some are in the back, and we were blown away that they even had a dyslexia font.
Yep.
They had specific colorblind coloring, so we turned all of that on because
And
we don't
also
know
different coloring for who's speaking.
Yeah, because we
Oh,
didn't.
it like highlights them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh,
and
that's
especially
cool.
for a class where we're like, we don't want to ask and we don't want anyone to feel bad about their accessibility concerns. Let's just turn them all
Turn
on.
all of them on.
And we
to
were
max.
blown away at the options.
Yeah.
And then there's Elden Ring that's like this tiny, not even 12 font Times New Roman. It's like
so small.
9 font Times New Roman.
like
In the middle of this massive text
Single
box.
spacing.
Single
like-
spacing, no
like
paragraphs.
I think I thought that I was like digging around in the settings and was just dumb that I couldn't figure
Same,
it out.
No,
Like
yeah.
I don't know. Is there something there that I missed or
No,
think
they
so.
just don't have that option.
Maybe they've updated it. I don't know.
Are you checking, Tobin?
Yeah, I was gonna
Maybe
say.
they
I was gonna
updated
check.
it in like the 3 months that you rage quitted it.
Yeah, August 2024. I opened the game for the first time and, stopped it after 5 minutes. That's my experience with Elden Ring.
Well, that's fun.
Anyways, yeah.
You didn't even get a chance to get thrashed by what's it called? Who's the first guy on the horse?
I don't know.
Worst man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tree Sentinel.
Nice.
That's usually.
I mean, the world building sounds amazing. Like J.R.
It's a great game.
What's his face? The G and J. Gurm.
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah,
area.
Gurm put his whole heart into it and the world building. And he's an excellent world builder. And it's like
Well, I
it's a
mean-
shame I can't experience it unless I move my PS5, plug it into my PC, and watch myself play. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, it kind of turned me
No.
off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
yeah.
so.
It's like you should be able to play it in the way that you want to play it and not have to like make all these
Yeah,
accommodations.
like
the
it's
game
not
should
the
have that built
90s.
system. Yeah.
We're not playing Dark Souls on a PC in your parents' basement in the dark. Like, come on, like grow up.
I think there was also a point when I was like a bit younger, like especially as a game scholar, where I was like, if a game was, culturally important enough, I would literally just force myself to like sit and play through
Right.
it. And I'm not gonna do that anymore. Like,
No,
Well, I know it's,
no.
like, so many-
Why should we tolerate that?
It's also just like so many games journalists like literally destroyed their body to like get like game reviews out on time. And it's just like we shouldn't be doing that anymore. Just
No,
like
it's not.
take the time to play these games, but also make these games accessible so we're not like killing ourselves to get
Well,
stuff
and there's
done.
literally, I mean, if like there's just so many games now. There is like infinite games. There are people who like game for 100 hours a week and they don't play anything but farming sims.
Ah, yes. Pure
Because there's
experience.
just so many of them now,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It's just like there's no point in playing anything that's not.
No, and why
doesn't,
should
like-
we
yeah.
reward crappy development, right? That's kind of how I feel about Blizzard. Like at this point, it's like I will never play a Blizzard game again until.
You don't have to with Path of Exile 2.
Yeah, but also you know what I mean in terms of like ethics, company
Yeah.
culture, treating people well, not having I won't even name them, but you can Google the horrific stuff that was happening. Like,
go
why
read
should
Jason Schreier's
like
book.
why should you be
Jason
making money
Schreier
off of
stuff.
this? Like, we don't have to tolerate that anymore. So yeah, that's my Elden Ring. That's one of the 7 things I listed. Yeah.
Metroid.
What's next? Oh, Metroid. I
We'll
knew
talk
you'd
about
pick
something
that.
happy.
Well,
Well,
Metroid, I was very reinvigorated by the Metroid Prime Nintendo Direct teaser. I was like, finally.
For 4, right?
Yeah,
Prime
Prime
4.
4. I was like, finally,
have a subtitle
Prime
now?
4. I don't know.
Dark Cereal.
Maybe something like that. It's awesome. It looks great. And then Toben gave me a modded 3DS to play it. To play all the older Metroid games, and I
Beyond.
barely got into it because I was just so brain dead.
Well, I also was like, here's 8 more that you can play.
Well, also,
it's
after
overloaded
Elden
a
Ring
little bit.
small screen situation,
Oh,
when I
yeah.
was recovering from surgery, I was like, big screen.
Squinting at Game Boy
Maximum
Also,
Advance.
like,
text
do you want
size.
to hold like a 3DS above your face while you're recovering, trying to play a game and let it drop and fall on
So
your face?
Toben was very kind, and I didn't get a chance to dig into it as much as I
Well, we'll
did,
set
but
you up with something else.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
It's easy enough to do on your PC.
So yes, but what else do you want me to talk about?
Let's talk about Dead Space, because I was
Ooh.
interested in Dead Space Remake.
Yeah,
But I didn't play it,
I was
so.
gonna say this year and even the tail end of last year was an excellent year for horror.
Because there's
Lots
also
of-
Callisto Project. right? That one?
Callisto Protocol was actually
Protocol,
trash,
that's
but
what-
that
okay.
came out. But also like the Alone in the
yeah.
Dark remake came out. Resident Evil 4 remake came out. That's another thing on my list. Dead Space remake
It
came
says
out.
you're on your 5th playthrough since August.
Yeah,
Which is
Whoa.
insane.
Slitterhead
Just
came out.
speedrunning
That's a
those
brand new
things.
game. Alan Wake came out. The 2,
Ooh, Alan
and
Wake
then
2.
it was
Alan Wake
like
2.
it went platinum or whatever.
Did you hear about Mouthwash?
Yes,
No.
I've heard about
But,
it. Not
You should
much.
add that to your list.
I should. Silent Hill 2 remake
Silent
came
Hill 2
out.
is a
So
big
there's
deal.
this was such a good year for reinvigorating horror. We're not going to talk about the Outlast trials, but some people consider that excellent horror. I personally don't like the Outlast series from a narrative standpoint. But anyways, it's like, so I started the Dead Space Remake 2 during that surgery time. It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
so good. Like the narrative beats that they improved on is so much better. The gameplay was fun. It was a good balance of like, especially after I rage quit Elden Ring, I was like, oh look, all these accessibility
Right.
settings. Oh look, like
Which is weird, because
Yeah.
back in the day, Dead Space was this kind of like minimalist
very
thing
difficult
that's
game.
like you need to figure this out for
Yeah.
yourself and like how the menus work and the UI and
Yes.
stuff. So that's interesting that they came back
it
around
was
to
awesome.
put it all
And
back
then
in.
and then after I like plowed through it the first time, I started New Game Plus with all the weapons, and I was like, I am
Yes.
God now. Let me just run through
What's
it.
your
And
favorite weapon?
the line cutter. The line cutter, because you just do laser beams and then they just run
Everything
through
falls.
them,
You
and
make-
then
you
you
make
use
sushi?
you use like the what's it called, the kinesis kind of
Yeah.
situation, because you can get like a claw of a dead enemy and throw them and impale the other
Very
ones.
Half-Life in that
For-
aspect,
Yeah, so I was very like, haha, here's my trap. And then because I was so strong, if something like came out of nowhere, I don't get jump scared, but you know, that comes with playing horror for like 15 years.
yeah.
Something came out, I was like, too bad. Or like, and it was like over in a minute. So I just enjoyed I mean, I will say I don't like the ending of Dead Space. I never really liked that ending, but that was like at a time of horror of when they're like, oh yes, the big Cthulhu megalomania mind thing. And I was like, this is boring. I don't want to go through this abandoned factory with no narrative plot points. But the original ones, like the salient elements of the ship and the kind of political structure and kind of learning how everything fell into chaos, like it was a good, I'm someone who the game mechanics have to match the narrative. So Forbidden West is a great example of like, I don't care that I had fun playing this, that I like some of the characters. Kotalo, right, for example, said you and I had lots of conversations about
so
him.
many.
But it's like, the narrative sucked. And I was
Yeah.
like, too bad. Like, why should I support this? If your narrative writing sucks, and back to, you know, the original rant of like everyone in the humanities is losing their job, why should I support only devs? Like, no. So that's my political gameplay stuff. Which, speaking of which, then the Resident Evil 4 remake is so good.
I was gonna say I met the person who wrote Dead Space 2 and 3.
No way.
Yeah.
Cool.
He got a lot of flack for it,
Yeah, I'm not
but
surprised.
he bought a house with it, so who cares?
Oh, exactly.
So let's
right?
talk
You
about
mean-
Resident Evil 4. So I've made it about halfway through that game.
I love
It
that game.
also has an amazing speed run.
It does.
There's a glitch where you drive off on a Sea-Doo, but you glitch and so you don't actually drive the Sea-Doo.
Yes,
so
I
it's
know
just
that
Leon,
one. I
right?
know
It's
that
Leon
one.
in that game?
Leon.
Leon, yeah.
Kennedy?
Leon S.
just like
Kennedy.
zipping off on
Yeah.
nothing. Do you know what we're talking about? So imagine.
But what is zipping off on nothing? But what about Ashley?
I don't think she's in
No,
that scene,
no,
right?
because you never get introduced to Ashley. So if you're a speedrunner, you basically
You skip through all that.
skip that mechanic.
What's the point of the game without Ashley?
To go fast.
Well,
To
it's
go
a speed
fast.
run.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
But you gotta save Ashley. That's
No.
the end of the game.
No.
Oh,
Speed run.
I should
Yeah,
look
there
into
is
that for my
actually.
paper if there's some ludonarrative dissonance in that.
Anyways,
Yeah,
what
I'd
did you
say
wanna
so.
Yeah. So 5 times since August.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How fast are you completing these?
Ooh, 8 hours.
Okay.
I'm a really good shot, Toben.
I guess so.
No,
That's
it's
wild.
just the remake is really well done. The stuff that people like. I remember, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on his name.
Is it a character? Is it
Yeah,
a
it's one of the
scholar?
main characters. He didn't really have
Chris?
a plot line. No.
Oh.
The villain?
The Spanish guy.
Jorge.
No, what is his
Gabriel.
name? No.
In
Emma, you
4?
should know it. The guy
I haven't
who
played
There's a
was
since
with
Spanish
Ada.
4 came
who-
out.
Oh my god, characters. RE4. Anyways, point is he didn't really have a plot. Louise. You didn't
sure.
really have to care about Louise in like the original game, and now they gave him enough. Like, there's an environmental storytelling element, finding out how he was one of the villagers who left as
Oh,
a
cool.
kid and stuff before kind of the plague happened, and he's basically coming back to his hometown. His like family members are dead, all the people he grew up with are turned. So there's this very subtle environmental narrative storytelling, and there's a little bit more backstory with him that it's like when he, spoiler alert, he dies like midway through the game.
Luis, no.
Like people, I was reading even comments on Reddit where people were like, I didn't care for Louise in the first one. Now I'm like crying over his
Yeah.
death.
That's
like,
good.
like they improved a lot of the narration, and I think from a gameplay perspective, like obviously it's like an RE game always has to have camp. It always has, the cringe, but
Do you punch
cringy
the boulder in the
one-liner.
remake?
No, that's 5, and that's a controversial game because
thought
it
you
took place in Africa. So let's not get into that. That's a Chris Redfield thing.
Okay.
But it's like there's so much like options for. If you want to plow through this, you can plow through
Yeah.
it. If you want to strongman your way, you can. If you want to stealth it, you can.
Right.
And there's a lot of kind of variety in how to play. Like that entire, the third location on the island, you could technically stealth the entire thing.
Huh.
Or if you want to just blast everyone and get all the alarms and do the carnage, you can. Like there's a lot of options for like play how you want. Or now that I'm on the 5th playthrough, obviously I'm flush with cash.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't I buy a bazooka every other time and then I can just one-shot the bosses and keep going? And there's just a lot of achievements that I want to get with it, so that's why I want to get to the...
Are you collecting like all the little crystals and stuff?
Yes. Why do you think I'm flush with cash, Emma? I
Yeah.
have so much to
That's
sell.
the most fun part.
What are you buying? Yeah. Cool.
Weapons of mass destruction. But no, it's just really well done. The narrative is good. It has the nostalgia factor, the things people critiqued the studio
fix
listen
them.
to and
Yeah,
improve.
that's cool.
And the gameplay is just very... You have variety and it's flexible based off your play style.
I
So
mean, a
like
lot of
that.
people would say that 4 was like already the best
Mm.
Resident Evil
it
game,
was.
like before any improvements. So the fact that they like then went back and
Leveled it
improved
up,
on that.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
I have very strong emotions when it comes to the boss in the lake when you're on the boat. And you have to harpoon stuff.
El Lago or whatever.
Yeah, that heightens my thalassophobia quite a bit when I
Oh
do that boss.
no, the only thing that makes me mad is apparently there's an achievement for if you
Don't fall off?
No,
No.
if you spear it every single time, you don't miss a shot.
Uh,
Oh, I've rage quit that so much because it's like you miss slightly and it doesn't count. I'm like, I saw the blood mechanic.
Right.
He got hit, but it's like, so
Yeah. Keep practicing.
no, yeah. So the RE4 remake is really good. So is the Dead Space one.
All right. I'll jump over to my stuff. Has anyone, any Ratchet and Clank fans?
Yes, I love Ratchet and Clank, but I never
On that
got
side?
past the
No.
5th one. Size matters.
Okay. So you have a PS5. I highly recommend playing Rift Apart.
Is it that good? Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
it's really fun. Really fun mechanics. It uses haptics as in a way that's really interesting.
Ooh, cool.
Because it was one of the earlier PS5 games, so they were still trying to push.
The
that stuff
haptics a
in
lot
there.
more for that one, yeah.
The story's fun. Jennifer Hale is one of the characters, so it's like, why not play this game?
I don't know who that is, but all right.
Fem Shep. She
I
was
don't care about
Felicia
actors
Hardy
and
in the
actresses. Don't know
animated
their
series of
names.
Spider-Man.
They don't matter to me.
I heard that the writing was like good
Meh.
as well in
Yeah,
that one.
I feel
yeah.
like they're.
Oh, no,
I
it was
mean,
good? Nice.
Yeah, all Ratchet and Clanks that I've played have been a good experience.
What's your favorite one?
It might be Rift Apart, just because it feels like
Really?
a good culmination of like the story, right? Because what I like about Ratchet and Clank is it's not just a singular thing.
No.
And because I've played all of them, I can see like, oh, there's threads through all these
Yeah,
different kind of bits and
nice.
pieces and stuff. And I mean, any time that you get to just hang out with Captain Quark is fun.
Oh, he's
right?
a hilarious
That kind of
character.
stuff. The character design in those is
My
really
favorite is Up Your Arsenal.
fun. Okay.
If they remade that, oh,
Game over.
Should. A good like PC full library of Ratchet and Clanks updated would be really fun.
oh, it would be awesome.
I've been playing It Takes Two with my wife, which has been a weird experience.
Interesting.
A game about divorce, playing with your currently married partner and being like, wow, these people are terrible. So have you played, anybody played It Takes Two?
No.
So me and my partner tried to play it on my birthday a few years ago. And I don't think he'll be upset at me for saying this, but he was just like, you are better at video games than me, and this is like extremely frustrating for me. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Let's just keep going. And he's like, no, like this, like, I just think it was just, that's not the, like, I'm more of a gamer than him, but like he also is like, likes to, you know, he likes what he likes, and that was like not it. So I'm like, I gotta find someone else to play this with. So I feel like we only played for like, I don't know, maybe like a couple hours.
Yeah, and it doesn't really start to get interesting until the kind of third or fourth zone.
Yeah.
So the way that it's divvied up is, I mean, it won Game of the Year, so most people know probably about it. But you're these parents, and you get turned into dolls by this charm, and then it becomes kind of like a Banjo-Kazooie asymmetrical platformer. So the husband has certain powers, the wife will have certain powers, and it changes kind of where they are. So early on, you start like in the garage, and you have to work your way through, you know, like a workshop to kill this vacuum in like the most intense way ever. Do you want me to tell you what you do to it? Because it's really
I don't care for spoilers, so
Okay.
go for it.
So you have to like suck up these light bulbs to do damage, and then to actually kill it, you turn the hoses and you like suck out its brain by
Oh.
itself. There's some like really visceral stuff in it. You rip apart an elephant to make your daughter cry. That's like the really controversial one that everybody
Oh
talks
my
about.
word.
That does sound controversial.
But what's interesting, right, is as a piece of, I don't know if it's critiquing marriage. I still haven't really figured out like if it's actually critiquing divorce or if it's critiquing marriage.
We're
But
just
there's
making a commentary about how difficult relationships are.
Yeah, that's probably more fair. But there's some interesting ways in which it's not like a 50-50 split in terms of who can do what. So there's one level where the wife basically gets turned into a hammer and the husband is able to throw nails. And so there's some ways where the husband has more things he has to do. So he has to set up like he throws the nails at a board so that the wife character can jump across. But then the wife has to like hit things to lock stuff into place. And so there's this kind of splitting of duties, right? But then there's other levels where one character will do like 90% of the work, and then the other character will do like 10% of the work. So there's this weird kind of shift. And then one of the things that I think is really interesting about it is that there's these built-in mini games, and some of them, like one character will just never be able to win because of like how the zone is set up
Interesting.
and things like that. So as the characters are very competitive and they're kind of at each other's throats a lot, and then you go play this mini game, which are designed to like bring them closer together. And then it just continues to keep that kind of strife between the two going.
I remember thinking like it would be nice if you could like pass off certain things. Like, oh, okay, I'm better at aiming. So actually give me let me do
I guess
the
you could. You just switch controllers.
Well, no, but I mean like in the game.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like
But I think it has to do with their personalities. Because
Yeah.
where we are right now, the husband apparently has been this gardener the whole time.
yeah.
And so that's why he has like a little flower in his character design. And then in the hammer and nail situation, the wife is an engineer and she has a much more forceful personality. So in that aspect, it matches up.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. There's certain things that are really good. There's one scene they go into a snow globe, which is from where they got engaged. I don't think it was their honeymoon. It was where they were engaged. And at the very start of the level, they go into this lodge and they're like, oh, we haven't been here for so long because we started working and we had a kid, and then they focused on that rather than a relationship. And there's a moment where the husband's like, hey, do you want to just like hang out and stop and talk to each other? And the wife's like, nah, we need to keep going. And I was like, you idiot, why are you doing this? Like, he's reaching out to you and you don't want to all this stuff. Yeah, it was good. So I'm excited to see
He's
how
being
it ends.
emotionally vulnerable, please.
Yeah. Meet him halfway. So that's been good. I'm excited to finish that. And then the main thing, the game of the year contender that I'm playing is Metaphor Refantasio.
Interesting. How
So
do you
it's
like
made
it?
by the Persona and Atlas team.
Oh.
Nice.
So I believe I tried Persona in the past. It was very stressful, right? Because the main mechanic
yeah.
is you can only do certain things on certain days, and there's kind of really strict time limits for that. Metaphor perpetuates that, but it eases up a lot. Like you have way more time to do certain things than it felt like you did in Persona. The characters are really cool. You get a bat ninja samurai
Ooh.
who's really awesome. And the way that
Batman
you build out your
Japan edition?
characters, the way you build your characters is really fun. I'm not really that far into it. I think I'd only done like the first city.
Very
but
cool.
in an election year, it was a very interesting JRPG because it's very much about like democracy and utopia and
Right.
what people's rights are and how we should build societies and things like that.
Very interesting.
So that's been good. But I still want Balatro to win Game of the Year.
It's
Just
going
to
to be
kinda
Black
stick
Myth
it to 'em.
Wukong.
You think it's going to be Black Myth?
Yeah, I think so.
Should we just talk
because-
about that now?
We might as well.
Okay.
It's
I don't
like
think none of us
Licidity
have played it, right?
None of us
No.
have played it, but I
It's not my
think
kinda
from
game.
what I've
No.
seen, I want to play it. But when it comes out in a disc format, because currently it's only available for
Oh, really?
download, and
Weird.
I'm like, a lot of games are doing that right
yeah,
now,
that's fair.
and I'm like, no, give me physical media. But anyways, it's like the cultural impact, the amount of passion, the amount of people I've talked to who have like are Chinese or they're like immigrant
Right.
families here. They're like,
Yeah.
I grew up being told the tales. It's like a fairy tale and a world building creation myth for China and their kind of religion. And the amount of people that have that nostalgia and they're like, oh my God, like my
Yeah.
grandparents were telling me these myths and the lore of Wukong and whatnot. And apparently some of the locations, because they're like significant to China locations, some of the locations in Black Myth Wukong, like you are actually mapped from like
Oh, that's awesome.
traditional Chinese, like some of their largest Buddhist temples and whatnot.
Right.
Like it's just the amount of cultural passion injected into
cool.
that game. People say the gameplay itself is fun, and there's even stuff that people are like, this is like Wukong lore accurate. So this is the biggest spoiler, but during the final fight, you do play against like the original Black Sun Wukong, I believe is the name. But it's like so the first time you use a healing potion, the boss will like pause you, snatches it out of your hand, and drinks it for
Oh,
himself. And everyone's like,
cool.
that's literally lore accurate personality to Wukong. So it's even like the amount of small, intricate details that I've heard. A passion project. It's really nice to see games coming out of Asia, not just like the North American domination, and
Yeah.
showing that other game studios from other countries are doing excellent work and very multidisciplinary approaches to gaming where they care about every single aspect. It should win Game of the Year, which is a shame for Balatro, as you were saying, like, because it's amazing. It's this one-man army game, but it's going against this cultural titan that had this level of impact.
Well, and I also think in general, it is good for there to be games that drop the like Eurocentrism of
yes.
fantasy because like
Define Eurocentrism, because I'll fight you on that regarding The Witcher, but
well
What?
I mean, but clearly there's parts of The Witcher that are more inspired by like Poland versus like other
because I would
parts
separate
of-
it by Western fantasy versus Eastern.
Yeah,
right?
but like just in general, I think I'm thinking more about the perception that gamers have, where like if there's like a single non-white person in a fantasy.
Oh,
setting,
yeah.
They're like, this is historically inaccurate.
Oh
because they're
yes,
dumb as hell,
100%. Yes, that I agree with. Yeah.
So like anything that I feel like challenges that like builds on myths other than
yes, 100%.
those, like
Especially as like the type of game that it was, of like it provides something I think new with very popular game mechanics of like it's so differentiated from the recent like God of War games that were obviously going back on a lot of
There's
Norse
myth, yeah.
and mythology, because that's a juggernaut within games, but having something that is this new kind of thing in terms of going to a non-European culture and pulling out from a lot of their kind of like mythologies, I think was also really interesting. And the fact that it had like such massive appeal was super interesting as well.
Also, it was done by a Chinese game studio, like, right? Like that's another thing too. Like, so they obviously took their cultural heritage and were like, let's pump in this passion into a game.
Has anyone played any of the other Game of the Year nominees?
No,
Not at all.
no. Honestly,
They're too
the only,
expensive.
the only, the
Games
only,
are so
Yeah.
expensive.
I was
these
gonna
days.
say I
And I don't have
am
a
Black
PS5.
Myth Wukong is on my list, but I wanted to wait for a physical copy. The only other games I have that I haven't played yet is the Silent Hill 2 remake, and
so good.
the
It looks so good.
it does look good, and Alan Wake 2 Deluxe Edition, because I've heard a lot of good things about it.
That won a
and-
bunch of awards last year.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So
But
I
it won-
the other
didn't it
games
win Game of the Year last
nominated.
year?
Astrobot,
Yeah,
which is
Astrobot.
like a tech demo. I probably shouldn't. People would be mad for saying that. Apparently, it was really good. Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, which we should talk about if a DLC should actually.
Is it a DLC?
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then Metaphor.
It's a
Refantasio.
metaphor.
That's the
the
game
other
Toben
one.
talked
Right,
about.
okay.
Toben talked about, yeah.
Nah.
So
Yeah.
Sid, do you have a pick? Pam
No,
saying Black
I
Myth?
don't.
I think it
No,
should be Black Myth
probably
as well.
Black Myth, because
I think Black Myth is likely, but obviously I'm gunning for Balatro.
I think realistically, it's going to be Elden Ring.
Really? But it's a DLC. So how can it win Game of the Year?
It's nominated for it.
That's cheating and breaking the rules.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm
That's
gonna
not
say-
a game.
I'm
It's a
going to say Elden
DLC.
Ring, but I won't be surprised if it's Rebirth. Because
Interesting.
Rebirth is already winning a bunch of awards in this kind of early cycle.
I mean, everyone loves a Final Fantasy.
In general, I mean, this is going to be maybe this is a controversial opinion, but in general, I think that like DLC remakes, like they should have their own categories.
They should. They should.
I think that Game of the Year should be exclusively for like completely 100% new
Yeah.
entries or completely 100% new IP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even like having, something like a part of a franchise, like I know that's so much of games, but like it's even unfair when like someone's trying to create something completely new
Yeah.
and then you're
Yeah.
up against like
Yeah.
A Titan.
sequel.
Or
Like
it's like seeing, Call of Duty being nominated again for something, and it's just like, there's too many.
We could
I
have
don't
like best
care.
DLC, best new game with new IP, best. Well, that's like for example, Silent Hill 2 is nominated for best narrative. I was like, that makes sense to be like, could you improve the narrative from the first time around, even though it was already a strong
It's
narrative?
also just like been like 20 years since that game
Yeah,
came out,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I do,
like, is there,
but
like,
then
a
I
time
also
limit on
wonder
these
if
things?
remakes should have their own category as well, because then it's like you have a narrative that's popular that people enjoy that you're assuming they've only built upon, similar to like RE4. Should it be a brand new narrative that is given those awards, and there should be maybe separate categories for that? I think that's the most ethical, but
especially with like all the like blurry lines between like remakes and remasters and like like even as a Nintendo person like Nintendo will sometimes like hammer out a remake and they've like barely done anything to it. Like they'll say,
Yeah.
oh, this is
Just
a remake, but
emulating
it's-
or
the
it's like I would even
yeah,
say like
basically,
best.
but it's worse than
Yeah.
the
Oh,
actual
but it's worse.
emulations.
Or that's even, like there should be probably, I know there's stuff for like indie stuff, but there should also be stuff for like best beta versions or something like that, because Lethal Company was like
Is it still in early access?
technically yes.
So they should
Yes.
do. Well,
like-
then it can be nominated when it has its 1.0 release.
Right,
Because that's
right.
what happened with Baldur's Gate 3, right? It came into early access in like 2019. And then the year it was released in 1.0, it was nominated.
But I think
so.
Pam's right that there
Yeah.
should be a category because
Acknowledging
like
that stuff.
sometimes there's like it's like, oh, all the like publicity and momentum is
Yeah.
around the beta release, and then when the actual release comes out, it's kind of like
Well, and also like Lethal Company is another one-man army kind of situation.
He made
They-
$50 million in 1 year. or
Oh
in 1
yeah,
month last year.
and it's like
That's
the
insane.
game is like, this is actually one of the other games. Sid and I with our friend
Yeah.
Stu, who's a Ubisoft employee, so
Yeah,
we
Former
always get
guests of the podcast.
Former guest,
former
yes.
guest of the
Twice, I
podcast,
think.
former GI
Double
member, GI alumni. So Stu is always interesting to play with because he's a UX researcher. So he's always like, I hate this game mechanic. I would design it differently. And it's like, that's fine, man. But that's interesting. It's like, it's a small. The only world building you really get is very environmental. There's no like explicit narrative. There's a few cutscenes in the beginnings during like when you do a
When
new
you
game launch.
first game launch, and then there are
Yeah.
some text files you can find
But-
in different locations,
So
but
it's
there's very
all
few.
environmental storytelling, and there's even people pumping out lore videos who are searching for these clues, and it's very interesting. And the gameplay itself is kind of boring, but it's fun with people. The point of it is like
Yeah.
It's
to
just
have fun,
randomized, and you
wacky-
just have fun. Yeah, it's just like it's
occasional
great.
horror, like when the purple man with the snippers came out. Oh,
No.
awful!
Terrifying.
Oh,
Yeah,
terrifying!
it's awful.
Terrifying. He makes a little like trumpet noise every
Little
time he.
trumpet noise.
You always get freaked out by the
The
mimics.
mimics. Well, no, they're not even called mimics.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
are.
we call them.
Well, yeah, that's true. We
we
just
have
call
our
them
own
mimics.
names for them.
We have our own names for all the monsters. What was it, like the Thump Thump?
The
I
Thump
think
Thump?
that's the official name.
No, it's called the Thumper.
Oh, we just called it the Thump Thump.
We don't know the names
Dog.
of these monsters. Dog,
The
girl, little ghost girl. She's come and kill me and take my head.
Yeah, but anyways, like
Face hugger. No,
face
That's
hugger.
not what it is. It's like a flea.
that's not what it
or
is. It's the
something.
snare flea. We call it the
Snare
face
flea.
hugger. But like that's an example. Like maybe there's not a lot of plot in it. The mechanics are very simple, but there are enough lore bits that it kind of makes
Yeah.
you interested.
Yeah.
And like we played it like basically exclusively nonstop for a year.
Yeah.
just for like our gaming nights because it has a little bit of ease where it's great to chat and like it's
Yeah.
like, just a good co-op game.
Well,
right?
and I feel like when you're making a game that's so good for Twitch too,
Yes.
that's like a whole
yeah.
other like level.
Yeah,
of
because it allows for like role play and whatnot,
Yeah.
right? Like, and whether you're streaming, like that's just easy to fall into the roles. Like, I think Markiplier and his friends literally made a song about the company, and it's such a little jingle. Like, it just gets stuck in your head, but it allows for that kind of then watchability and performance. Like, like even Sid and I at one point to troll Stu because he's the only one who has a PhD amongst the two of us. For now, Sid's up there with the candidacy status, but it's like we'd be like, well, you have to be the captain because you obviously have the most qualifications. So then we started referring to each other as Kronk in third
Because
person.
you
and it
pull a
would just-
lever in the game, so you
yes,
just
to
start
start
saying
it.
it
That's
just became
amazing.
natural.
And we'd be like, Kronk doesn't like this captain, and you know,
Kronk's
people-
having a bad time with this captain and you're referring to
and
yourself
he
in third
hated
person.
it. He hated it. It was so odd. But even if you're not Twitch streaming, like it gives that level of flexibility in gameplay, right? Where you can kind of
it's to the point where it's like you've made like a game, but you've also made like a platform for like
Yeah.
emergent narratives
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
unfold. Yeah.
Same with the content warning, which is
Oh,
also
yeah.
very Twitchable. Has that like horror aspect, that indie dev style. I think the game costs $12 on Steam,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. And that one's also that's what we kind of switched to after we burned out of Lethal Company. But it's like that's another one where it's like you have your chances to chat, you have your chances where you don't have to chat. It gets really funny because you're basically recording found footage of yourselves
You're
and your
trying
friends.
to upload videos to SpookTube and capture monsters.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like some of it is janky and whatnot, but it's just like some of those base level mechanic co-op games, like that should be a category of itself, which is the most Twitchable, which is the most emergent narrative one. Like those are just fun to play with friends,
We
right?
should do the Game Institute Game Awards.
Game is,
Ooh.
start pulling the entire membership.
Yeah, it would have
No, it's
to
just
be
us four.
Oh,
No, we haven't
Really
played
important.
any of them.
Yeah, that's why they
no.
would look very different.
Listen, you gotta
And it'd be
compete
like,
with
"What'd
my
you
2
play this
games
year?"
a
I
year
played-
type of play style.
Sid's just like we do it for 10 years, and Sid's just like
Red
Red
Dead
Dead
Redemption
Redemption 2
2.
for
That's
10
right.
years in a row.
That's right.
Mine would be
Still here.
Pokemon Gold for me. What would your nomination be every year? What do you play every year? What do you play every year, Emma?
I
Do you have
used
like a yearly comfort game?
I used to restart Skyrim every first snowfall of the year, but I stopped during the pandemic. Actually, since the pandemic, my playstyle has become very. I don't know what I'd vote. Maybe Metroid Dread because I just enjoyed it so
Yeah.
much. Dread was
It's
just
a good yearly play.
awesome. It's a good yearly play. Maybe at this point, maybe one of the probably considering my 5
Resident Evil
playthroughs. Resident Evil 4.
I'm just not really much of a anythinger. Like I don't really rewatch things. I don't really replay things. I don't reread things. Like I'm just like
So then you'll be the
The new edition.
yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be the
pulling
one
us
that has to
forward.
play the new games because I
What?
won't be.
Wait, Stardew. I would say Stardew for you then.
yeah,
That's
but
not a
ev-
replay. That's a continuation.
Yeah.
But that's probably
You'll
the
restart
closest
it
thing
for
The
you.
you'll
closest
get to,
thing,
right?
yeah. Like I did actually return to Stardew, which is saying something
Well,
about
that's
the quality
fair.
of it.
If you're
because,
getting if you're getting like a new game
Yeah.
every year-ish.
Okay, then
like
yeah, it's
1.6
Stardew
and
for you.
stuff.
yeah.
All right, so we have about a half hour. Let's shift away from games. I'm sure we'll still kind of bob and weave back and forth. Outside of games, what were some things that we enjoyed this year? Sid, you have a couple things that are also
Game-related.
games now that I look back over it. So
Yeah, well, things were being put in there. Okay, so I'll say this just because these are a lot of the conversations that I have with some online friends is I am going to jump a little bit back to games because there was one that came out that that people were looking out for, which was the new Dragon Age game. Veilguard.
Oh yeah, it was all over Tumblr.
And it was interesting because BioWare, right, that's the studio, has not had a good hit in many, many years. And Dragon Age is one of those franchises that, people have loved.
is it 10 years, 13 years since the last one? It was a long time.
Since
13?
Inquisition,
Since
I think.
Inquisition? It's a
Yeah,
long
no,
time,
it's a
yeah.
long time,
Yeah.
long time. So, and this was supposed to be, that Hail Mary for BioWare to prove that, they could still make a game because Mass Effect Andromeda was not good. Their new IP was trash, but that was
Anthem?
more Anthem.
Yeah.
I didn't
that-
even hear about it.
No, because it was a live game that lived for maybe a few months, and then they shuttered it because it was so bad.
Yeah, it was
Oh
it was
my.
like
It was
a massive
a
failure.
massive failure from the studio, and everyone was like, "Oh no, is this like the end for BioWare, which was a mainstay studio for like the mid 2010s?"
Interesting.
So Veilguard was going to be that kind of like final thing for them. Not really final thing, I should say, but like the
If
next.
it didn't work,
If
they're
it didn't
cooked.
work, it was probably going to be bad for the studio. It worked, I guess.
It's an 82 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It seems to be very polarizing.
Yeah.
Like, people either love it or absolutely
And this
hate
is
it.
what
Most
I've
Bioware
been,
games are, though, right?
and this is
Yeah,
what
that's
I've
true,
been
yeah.
getting from different reactions from people who are actually playing it on terms of if you're a return player who has
Yeah.
enjoyed the Dragon Age games in the past, people are not enjoying it as much because
Yeah.
I think the expectations for them weren't there.
Right.
Versus the new players who are coming in who are like, I'm having a great time, especially since they're comparing it to Baldur's Gate 3 because the mechanics are a little bit similar.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And obviously the dialogue and writing for Veilguard is not as good
Right. Well, no.
as BG3, but people are saying, and this is like their personal experience, is they feel like their character creation, so like the character that
right.
they make,
Yeah.
feels much more lived in and connected to the world of Dragon Age than it does to Baldur's Gate 3.
Interesting.
And that's what, because they feel like their choices of faction or of race matters a bit more than it does in Baldur's Gate.
That's interesting because that's evident, like from the first. What are we talking about? Dragon Age.
Dragon
Sorry,
Age,
I had
yeah.
Baldur's Gate in my head, right? Because the whole origin idea was like, this is where you come from.
Yeah.
So that's cool that they're able to still kind
Yeah.
of stick that. mechanic.
So, and that's kind of just what I've been like noticing in terms of just seeing how like people are reacting to Veilguard, and obviously there are, I think, some good things that have come to it, but also just the differences of playstyle for people who are returning versus people who are completely new. So that's just kind of like what I found interesting about that game.
Nice.
Yeah.
You also have Star Wars Outlaws. Were you
Yeah.
one of the brave souls that played Star Wars Outlaws?
No, because
Okay,
I'm not
good.
spending that amount of money.
That's an Ubisoft game, right?
Yeah, from Massive Entertainment.
Okay.
And like it was one of those games where it's just like people have always wanted a good Star Wars game,
Yeah.
and I would say
Okay, Fallen Order.
the Jedi Survivor games
Yeah.
from that were made by a different studio,
By Respawn.
the Respawn,
Yeah.
have done much better.
Yes.
Outlaws, I think, had a lot of potential, but then it got bogged down by a particular type of Star Wars fan who hates everything and needs to complain about everything. But I've heard like from people who have actually played it, it's just like it's actually pretty good. So,
I mean,
And they made
when
some
it-
changes lately too.
They have
took
made
away
some
the
changes.
forced stealth stuff.
Well, I was gonna
and-
say, from a lot of people I've heard of, the Star Wars games are just a
Such a hit
fun,
miss.
dumb cowboy
Yeah.
in space time. Like people don't play it mostly for Star Wars lore; they're playing it because you want to hold a lightsaber.
Yeah.
No, and that's
Like,
the
it's-
point
and
of like the Survivor
exactly,
games. That's the
exactly.
point
Like
of it.
they're just dumb fun. Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
no. But it's also it's just it really depends on which type of fan you're kind of pigeonholing in.
Did you watch Gladiator 2?
Not yet, but I want to.
Okay, you want
so
to.
bad.
Tell us about why you want to.
Okay, so first of all, it's got one of my favorite actors in Pedro Pascal, but also it's a big Ridley Scott film, and Ridley Scott is like one of the last directors that like does and is able to do one of those spectacle type movies. And also just like the interesting kind of like reactions I've been hearing about it in terms of obviously the connection between the first movie, which was made, like 20 years ago, and just the reactions that people have been having to it, but also just like the massive spectacle that has been coming out of it in terms of production, in terms of like everything that they put into it.
looks
I think
really
it's just-
good.
yeah, it's just like
I've seen some of
finally
the-
blockbusters again.
Right.
I was about
That are
to
not
say-
Marvel.
I was about to say, I've
Thank
seen,
goodness.
there's a lot of good movies coming out recently, and I stopped going to the theaters for like, I want to say the last decade, because everything just coming out seemed boring to me, other than, the occasional dumb fun FNAF movie.
The Barbie.
You made me go see Twister before surgery.
I did.
The new
It was
Twister,
great.
and we just sat in the front. There was no one in the theater, and we just made bad commentary about it the entire
It
time.
was such a dumb fun time.
It
It
like
was
a dumb-
exactly what I wanted.
But I have seen a lot of interesting stuff where it's like men are making their girlfriends see this movie and being like, you have to understand the glory of Rome. And then the women see this and they're like, if you think this movie is about the glory of,
No.
Rome, you completely misunderstood the cultural critique of this movie.
Yeah.
So, which is I haven't seen it, can't say for myself, but that's what I've seen. So I'm very intrigued now about
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Emma, you have a lot of things on here that sound really fascinating. You listen to all of the 1980s BBC radio dramatizations of Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
How long did that take you?
Honestly, probably like 2 months, I think.
That's fair.
I thought about just rereading all of Lord of the Rings because I was working on a Lord of the Rings related grant.
Nice.
And then I was like, well, I've never listened to the radio. I was
Dramas.
going to do audiobooks, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'll do the radio
The Andy
dramas.
Serkis audiobooks?
Well, that was what
They're
I was
dense.
going to do. Yeah, but I was just like,
He
know,
does the Silmarillion, does he not?
He does all of them.
yeah.
Ooh.
But
They're hard to listen to,
Oh,
which is
are they?
weird. I've started maybe 6 times.
Have
and
you,
I've
I-
have
always
you
fallen
ever
off.
tried reading Silmarillion?
Yes, I have, and I've rage quitted every single time.
Yes.
But when it comes to like audiobooks too, I don't like audiobooks in English. I mean, for background, like Polish is my native language, and Poland has such an oratory culture, and oration is very like they're even in schools like language immersion schools in like in other parts of the non-Poland. That was really bad sentence. You get it. And then in Poland itself, it's like you even have like poetry contests. It's not about what poem you wrote. It's about picking a historic or
cool.
popular poem, and it's the reciting.
Yeah.
That's what the competitions are for. So when I grew up listening to Polish audiobooks and that style of oration and narration, it's very hard to find something in English that kind of matches that level of spectacle and dramatization and level of speech and kind of performance in it. So I find English audiobooks very difficult to fall into. But if Emma wrote a note that the BBC radio one slapped, I might give it a listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, at first I thought it was going to be too cringe or cheesy to listen to. I mean, like,
Yeah.
obviously Lord of the Rings in general is kind of cringe, but I love it.
Well, it can't be joy, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's really well done. And obviously, like, I don't know, it's so much better, like, with the music. And, like, they do a really good job of, because it is an adaptation. Like, it's not every single thing,
Oh,
right?
they abridge it a little bit?
Yeah, so it's like they're each about like 4 hours.
Oh, that's tall.
Or 4 to 5 hours, yeah.
Wow.
And so, especially, when you think about things like Helm's Deep, it is like an appropriate length compared to like the
Oh.
film adaptation.
No, that's
2 hours
interesting.
of-
Because it's like, it's listening to swords clashing is not interesting,
No.
right?
Yeah.
No.
So it's like there's more of a focus on just the relationships between the characters,
Yeah.
which I really, really enjoyed. Yeah.
That sounds really good.
Then you listed a bunch of books. Do you
Yeah,
want to
so-
talk about your favorite?
Yeah, I won't talk about them all. I think my favorite I did a lot of nonfiction reading this year. I don't know why, but I just like wasn't as into reading fiction this year, but I read a lot of nonfiction. Probably my favorite one was Reset, Reclaiming the Internet for Civil Society by Ronald J. Debert, who's at U of T in the Citizen Lab. And like, I don't think I've ever read like a nonfiction book by an academic where I was like literally on the edge of my effing seat. I was just like, oh my God. And it was just, it was like it was the exact, I was looking for a book to sort of fill in some of like the gaps I had about technology and government essentially. And like, I wanted something that was from a Canadian context. And it was the perfect book for that. And I was just like, I literally like immediately reached out to my friend who's at like the Privacy Institute and was like, do you know this guy? And like, oh, you do? And you have met him? Like, next time he comes to campus, you have to tell me. Like, I have to meet him because I was just like, he's like, I don't know, just like a rock star,
I love nonfiction or history books where they have good narrative.
Yeah.
And there's one that I read like that was called The Darkening Age, and it was about how like the actual transition from Christianity being a fringe, small like cult group to becoming like a massive religion. And the way this historian was writing it in that narrative style, I was like glued to my seat. Or even
The other book you read was about
I've been recently reading a book about Tsushi, who was the final empress of China. And there's been so much controversy about her because everything was taken from this biographer who wrote it from his perspective, extremely biased, and also was kind of like in love with her. So he like slandered her a lot and was like, she was a sexual fiend, but she loved me. But she was an evil woman because she controlled me. And it was crazy. And also because there's so much about these weird there's a lot of misinformation about she was like sexually deviant and using that for power. The historian who wrote it, he unfortunately passed 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He was like, all right, you want to talk about the Imperial Forbidden City courtship and how strict it was? Let's talk about it. It goes at first in all the details of like, this is impossible because of X, Y, Z. This is impossible because they did this freaky like stuff instead. And it's and now he's getting into the actual like which biographer probably had the most genuine access to her. Why were people listening to this heresy? And it was mostly because of sensationalism. And it was like the misinformation of the New York Times, because they're getting information from this British expat, and that, you know, there wasn't as much journalistic rigor then. And so it's like, that's the one that I was like on the edge of my seat. And actually, Sid and I flew for a conference in September, and I was reading this on the plane. I make a face, and Sid is like, "What are you reading?" And I just turned my
paragraph she'd be showing me was like, why are these words being strung together in this way?
But it was just a good read.
It was
too.
an interesting read.
So that's another, like, I just like when nonfiction is well written enough that you genuinely are on the edge of your seat, like, oh my gosh, what happens next?
Similarly, I do have to give a shout out to Chaos. The subtitle is Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s.
Ooh.
By Tom O'Neill. I want to say, it's wild that I haven't heard more people talking about this book, but I think it's because, like, I'm surprised he hasn't been, like, assassinated for writing this book. But it's just, like, however corrupt you knew the CIA, I thought I knew a lot about how corrupt the CIA was. Like, I thought that was something I was pretty well educated about. Wow, I did not know half of the stuff in this book. And it's literally, like, he got assigned a newspaper article to write about the impact of the Manson murders like 20 years ago, and he just kept researching until he put out this book, because he was like, actually, like, this turned into researching the CIA, and this turned into researching a lot of it is like about like really super unethical experiments that the CIA did through academia.
Oh, interesting.
Like MK Ultra adjacent stuff.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I don't
know what that is.
The MK Ultra program.
Oh my word! They were like testing drugs on people.
Yeah, and looking into psychedelics and whatnot, and it was linked to Nazis who had defected. And
like it's like
to
Operation
Canada.
Paperclip stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. So I'm trying to be accurate with my phrasing of what MK Ultra was exactly, but let me probably just Google it.
Like the oversimplification would be that it was like the U.S. government and the Canadian government, I should say, was also in on it. Was like, let's make like a truth serum that we can use against our enemies. Yes. And they were testing all these different drugs for it.
And the amount of torture that happened with it too and whatnot.
Yeah, and like there were all these people who got just like completely like their brains just got like liquefied basically by this like testing. Anyway, the point is if you're interested in if you're interested in the stuff that makes you sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it's really just that you're a communist in a world where no one else is a communist, like you got to read that book.
I was gonna say, just to clarify, yes, Emma was right about MK Ultra, and it looks like they hired basically defective Nazi scientists were hired by the CIA to help assist in the experimentation.
It's like
so it's very
all
dark.
connected to how like the U.S. just like let all these Nazis in to like get a edge up on scientific
and in the Cold War too,
Yeah.
right?
So Cold War advancement.
yeah.
Fascinating. All right, Pam, did you see Wicked?
I have not yet, but it's on my list just because I think it's already having a massive cultural impact of just apparently the actresses like Ariana Grande and Cynthia, I'm forgetting her last name, but they were live singing the entire time and doing all their own stunts. So when Cynthia, like I've seen for like Defying Gravity, I mean, obviously it's super viral right now because it's just such a difficult song to sing, and she's getting flipped through the air on her broom. She's singing live. So it's just from a skill set, and a lot of people are saying that The Wicked, even though it's technically the most popular fan fiction ever, like let's be real, it's fan media that became adopted by the cultural mythos, which most Broadways technically, you know, I would argue are to an extent. But it's like apparently the messaging in it is very important for this time around of like what it means to be different and accepting people who are different and going against someone who is much more politically, socially, economically powerful than you and what that means. So I was like, this is just, this is for the theater kids. This is a movie for the theater kids. And people are like, the actresses, they're just crying in all the press releases. Oh, they're so emotional. And then people would be like, I'm going to see this movie. And everyone's coming out sobbing. So I'm like, okay, I have to see if it's really like that.
Well, also as like an adaptation of musical theater to film again, it's always hit and miss because the last one that came out was Cats.
With Taylor Swift.
which was
A
horrendously
lot of bad
bad.
decisions made in that movie.
Because from the critiques that I've heard is that when you need to give yourself into the shamelessness of live production and live theater. That's especially with something like Cats, where it's like you just have to.
You are a cat.
You're a cat.
Meow.
Meow. Like you can't. There's nothing more to it. You're a cat. Meow. Come on. You can't really realism your way out of that.
Right.
Okay. But whereas it comes with Wicked, is also the director, John M. Chu.
Yes.
This is not his first musical adaptation he's done before, but the previous one that he did, which was Into the Heights, he took that as kind of a learning experience
Okay.
and then adapted his approach to Wicked and did a lot better with this material this time around. I think it's also just because, you have to give yourself into the shamelessness of it. You have to let it have fun. It's a musical. You can't take it too seriously because it's a musical about witches and whatnot.
And Oz. It's an Oz fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like
So I think that's where it's like been doing really well critically and also just commercially. So it's like finally just, maybe this is finally a good example of what it takes to adapt a musical to the screen again.
I've also seen a lot of interesting commentary of that, like Jonathan is genuinely also a big Wicked nerd.
Oh, Jonathan,
and the director, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And how important it is for you to actually care about the media you're producing to
wouldn't that be nice if people did
right?
that?
Like I mean, the Witcher Netflix series is an
Yeah,
excellent
that's exactly
example
what came to
of
mind.
people who didn't care about the material and were just there to make money from Netflix.
Yeah.
And what happened with it versus something where directors actually care about the content they're putting out. They care about the story, and it's like the magic kind of comes out of that, right? Like
It's funny though because it makes me immediately think about Rings of Power and how the directors though that Amazon picked were like basically guys who were like unknowns. They were picked for being the biggest Lord of the Rings nerds they could find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But people, like most people, hate it.
And
Yeah.
a lot of problem with that too is because people consider the Peter Jackson trilogy to be canon.
Yeah.
And haven't read the books, right?
Untouchable.
Because even like,
Untouchable, yeah.
well, that's like to be fair. Also, like the executive director of the Games Institute, Neil Randall, is probably one of an extremely. I don't want to say he's one of the top, but he is a Lord of the Rings scholar. And like he can recite passages, like he knows those books inside out. He loves the Rings of Power. And he's like, yeah, because it's more accurate to the books.
Yeah.
That's why I like them more. And he never liked the Peter Jackson trilogy. And he would be like rinsed and like rated online if he'd ever dare say that about the series. So it's very.
I mean, I feel
Yeah.
exactly the same way. I never liked the Jackson movies, and I
Ooh.
only got into Lord of the Rings once I read the books. And yeah, like I don't know, but it's so like if you were a 16-year-old boy when you saw those movies,
Oh,
now
yeah.
you're on the internet just like laying into anyone who likes Rings of Power. Like it's more culture war bullshit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Witcher 4 before I go through my stuff? I mean, there's probably not too much to mention.
I'll mention two things because I actually think at the beginning we were talking about like, oh, what happened in the game world? Not really much. We totally forgot about the Pal World controversy.
Oh, yeah.
So the only thing I will say about Witcher 4 is that it's happening. I'm not sure how connected it will be to the books. When I wrote these notes for you, I think it was still rumors. I think it actually got confirmed this week that it's Project
they-
Polaris
Yeah,
is
Polaris,
Witcher
yeah.
4 that they're working on, and it'll probably be more focused with Ciri.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So I'm very curious if they're drawing from the books, because if they're ending Geralt's story, or if they have still a lot of book material they could draw from.
But I think they did say that there's no more Geralt game.
Which I think would be good to
Yeah.
maybe
I
move to
agree,
Ciri, but
yeah.
I'll be then curious to see what they do without adapting. I mean, the game studio was already doing a lot without adapting and drawing from other like Polish and the Polish flavor of Slavic mythology, because the problem with Slavic mythology is that most people think Russia, not the other 12 countries. But I'll be very interested to see what they do with that. But the exciting news is that it's confirmed they're working on a Witcher 4. But Pal World, that happened, and I believe I remember they were getting sued.
They're getting sued.
I remember they were
Of course
getting
they're
sued,
of
and
course they're
Trademark
getting sued.
dispute.
and then everyone was like, "But wait, we've always wanted to have Pokemon this way, not necessarily with the guns, but the mechanics." Or it was like what people have been begging Game Freak to do for Pokemon for years. Like,
Yeah. From what I've heard in other podcasts and the few articles I've read, is it's basically like the Pokeball mechanic is too similar, and like very kind of small things like that they're going after them for.
right.
Basically, just to set a precedent and so that they don't ignore it, right?
But Nintendo has always been extremely quick to sue.
Yeah.
Like even YouTube, you can't even upload game music
Yeah.
because you will get sued and taken down and have your channel deleted because of how strict Nintendo lawsuits are for stuff like that. So the fact that Pal World got away with it for as long as they did was fascinating. And the fact that I wonder if Nintendo felt the heat of like people are like, wow, we actually enjoy playing this because we've been asking you to use these mechanics for years and have been ignored. Because let's be real, at this point, the Pokemon games are like rinse and repeat.
Yeah. I was going to say, in the shadow of Scarlet and Violet, Pal World came out and probably satisfied a lot of people who were wanting something better.
Yeah.
Although that's still their highest selling Pokemon
Which is funny because Scarlet and Violet was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. I played it for you and you're like, why is...
The graphics were bad for some
No,
reason.
it was like
bad.
glitching. You're like, why is the legendary upside down? And I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Why
it's
is also the legendary look so stupid?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
let's
like
make
the
a
design of
car.
those
it looks
Legendary.
it was an electric bicycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a Beast Wars, Transformers Beast Wars. You ever see
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
But
That's what it
was
reminded me
just
of.
so bad.
The rat who turns into a car.
I remember when Scarlet and Violet... It's the rat that turns into a car. I remember when Scarlet and Violet first came out and I played it and I was like, this is in theory cool, like the Pokemon University and this. But I was like, everyone who said like awful, terrible things about Sword and Shield now need to apologize considering this just came
Really
out.
good contrast.
It's like
Sword
you
and Shield was amazing
You
in
showed me the
comparison.
You literally showed me the differences between the two games. It's just like the
Sword and Shield
Scarlet
actually has a
Violet just
plot.
feels so not lived in.
No, yeah.
Like there's different ways you interact with like the buildings and shops and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Just
Oh,
like
yeah.
feels like
Isn't
this-
it?
yeah.
It seemed like AI built it, I'll be quite
Honestly,
honest.
yeah, it was
Because in
just-
Scarlet and Violet, right, everything's like a drive up. Like your
Not
Pokemon Center and
necessarily,
Mart,
but
you
yes.
just like park. Like it's just a stall. It's not even a building anymore.
No, it's a building.
Maybe
I
just
don't
a
just the
little
way
bit
you
further.
the way you interact with things are just differently. And
But
also,
yeah,
like
it's
the graphics are just bad.
Yeah,
Well,
they
they're
are.
like, oh, we use Spain and look at these beautiful cities. And I'm like, there's 3 shops here. Like,
shops.
even in Sword and Shield, I could go into every single store.
yeah.
And
It's
also
they all
just
had,
like
world
it,
building.
It did a bit more in terms of like the environment of making it look like the place it was actually based off in the real world. So it's like, oh, this is modeled off of Spain and blah
Right.
blah blah. And then this game was just like,
Yeah, go
Just
play
give
X
it a
and
go.
Y and go walk around Pokemon France. That game does really cool
I've
stuff.
heard
with the
a
environment.
lot of it. Isn't Black and White though arguably probably the best storyline? I've heard a lot of
I
people.
believe that's the
argue.
highest
rated one.
rated. Is
I'd
yeah,
have
because that's their New York.
Yeah.
All right, Toben, you got to talk about your other stuff because we got to end like
no,
now.
we-
Yeah.
I'm only going to talk about 2 things. So I almost made it through an entire book of fiction.
wow.
Ooh, wow.
It was called Blood over Bright Haven. It was pitched to me as essentially imagine spellcasting is done through typewriters writing code, and the subplot is about like women's rights.
Oh, okay. I'm googling this. That sounds so interesting.
So I started it. It was very fascinating. There's some really cool dialogue and ethical discussions and stuff like that. It's less about women's rights than it is about colonialism.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a bad thing. There's some interesting things. And the spellcasting is cool, but overall it was very forgettable. Like it's weird how
okay.
I finished it, and if you ask me who the characters were, I don't remember them. Oh no. Right. But cool worlds. I guessed the twist on chapter 8.
Oh.
So that made me feel pretty good. Because I always feel like if I can guess like the twist of books, then that means that my creativity is, good enough to get published if I can figure it out. I don't know. We'll see if that ever happens. And then the other thing that's been cool this year is if any of you are Futurama fans,
I love Futurama.
then go and watch Disenchantment.
Ooh.
So it was
it good?
Netflix produced, same team, like same voice actors. Like it's
Did
literally
they
like
finally
they
get the
took.
Bender actor? Because
What? He's like one of the main guys. Still.
of course. But I remember all the controversies. Always, everyone's like, you need to bring the same guy back who does Bender.
Oh yeah. Well, and ironically, Futurama is back this year as well, which is funny, I guess. But so Disenchantment is a fantasy Futurama.
Yeah.
So it plays with those tropes a lot, and I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. It's all about like alcohol and the king is a bad dad and stuff. And then the twists start happening, and this is one series where I have no idea what's going on or what's going to come
Oh,
next. And so
okay.
every episode is just this like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like it almost reminds me of watching like Stranger Things season 1.
That's interesting.
Where you're just like, this
Okay.
is amazing, and I
So I
have
know
no idea
like
what's going on.
when the show first came out, it had a very lukewarm reception.
Yeah,
So it's
'cause
interesting
season
that
1 was
it's,
really
like,
dull.
It's really kind of built up and finally found its footing.
Yeah, I mean it's done, so you can just go and binge all of it. But that's been the two kind of main things for me. Is there anything in a final round? One thing that we're excited for next year? So I can start as you think. So the thing I'm excited for next year is Magic the Gathering has announced that they're doing a Final Fantasy series right before my birthday.
Oh,
So I'm excited to
very
see what kind of
nice.
art and cards and mechanics come out of Final Fantasy. That'll be the one thing that I'm looking forward to most.
The Magic horror set this year was
Duskmourn?
Duskmourn.
Oh, I need to send you a video about Duskmourn then if you liked it.
I did like it. Yeah,
So cool. Yeah.
Windstorm: The Legend of Komori is a horse game based on the Mongolian culture.
I should have known Sid was going to say the horse.
Wait, what is it called?
Hang on, let me just pull it
Wind
up.
Mori?
You could also just Google Mongolian horse game.
You
and
just
you'll
Google
get it.
horse game. and
Mongolian
it'll come
horse
up.
game.
It's especially since like horse culture
Windstorm.
and the relationship with horses is so prominent within Mongolian culture. So it's meant to actually.
Wow, this
talk
looks
about-
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to
Why
it.
does Azer Interactive sound familiar? What have they made? Oh, police simulator? That's not what I was thinking. That sounds familiar. Okay, very good. Emma, do you have one?
I mean, normally I would be anticipating some sort of Zelda release.
Switch
but,
2?
Yeah, like I would say
That's
I'm
definitely coming next
very
year.
interested. I mean, every single Nintendo Direct for the past year, people have said like whether they're going to talk about the Switch 2, and they never do. So I think they have not said anything because they're afraid if they talk about the Switch 2, they won't sell any Switches at Christmas.
No. And they're still selling millions of Switches.
Oh yeah,
now.
Of
yeah.
course.
Because they're getting all the good bundles and stuff.
So yeah, I think January we'll find out about the Switch 2. So I'm very interested.
Yeah.
in that.
February, I'm going to predict a February Direct. It's going to be released in March.
You think that's quick?
That's
It's
really
already in
fast.
production.
Oh,
I was reading
okay.
on Reddit.
Yeah,
It's already in
people
production.
have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pam?
I'm excited for two things. One, the Metroid Prime 4.
Which will launch with the Switch 2.
Yes, and I want Metroid Prime for the first time in so many years. I'm
Have
so
you
excited
played
for it.
one? Like, did you buy Prime 1
no,
for Switch?
No, but I played it at my cousin's houses.
Okay.
I didn't buy games when I was a child, right? I had a...
No, I mean like the re-release for Switch, the remaster.
No, I haven't.
Oh.
No, I got the remaster for 3, but I haven't played it because a friend of mine is going through some very difficult medical treatment. So I gave her my
Oh,
Switch
that's right,
and all
that's
my
right,
games
yeah.
around 6 months ago, and I was like, "You keep it until everything is done." So, no Switch playing for me for the past 6 months. The other one is the new Bloober Team horror video game coming out called Chronos.
Oh yeah,
that's
it
supposed to
looks
be
really
like
interesting.
it's supposed to be like Dead Space 2
Bloober?
meets
That's not spelled right.
PT
Bloober.
meets
Oh,
like
this one.
Yeah, it's supposed
It
to
looks
be
really good, especially as a new horror IP.
Yes, so I'm very excited. Bloober Team does a lot of really good stuff. I don't think they get the credit they deserve.
They also
for-
just have a very solid design base.
also,
I feel.
they're Polish. I have to rep the hometown
Represent,
teams.
yeah.
You know,
You're biased. Throw it out.
I-
Dismissed.
no,
I'm just
we're
kidding.
gonna fight about this in the parking lot, Toben. But anyways, it just looks super interesting.
It
of
does.
having
I forgot
like
that
it's
this
like
was
Alan
announced.
Wake meets Dead Space meets PT, and I'm very recent. I used to
What's
hate
PT?
sci-fi, but I've been
Silent
really into
Hill
sci-fi
PT.
horror. And I'm
The
like, yeah, I
canceled
want to say,
demo.
yeah. So Bloober
Oh,
Team,
sure.
they did the medium, which was lukewarm. People
Oh,
didn't
that's
enjoy the
why they
medium
sound
as much,
familiar.
which I have some mixed feelings about it. But it was, I think, in terms of horror, it was a horrific game. Like it was
Very
terrifying.
horrific.
And then so people were like, oh, are they gonna mess up Silent Hill 2? And considering how much people are praising Silent Hill 2, I think they did a good job. And now this is their new IP. There you go. I tried to say that as fast as I could.
Ugh. There's some cool stuff in this
Yeah,
Steam
it
page.
looks super interesting.
This alone with like the building and the
Yes,
upside down.
We're looking at the
Steam page for it.
the first Steam page where it's like the Broken Worlds, which to be fair looks a little bit medium like. So I wonder if the medium they're just play testing these mechanics,
Probably.
working towards a larger IP.
They're pulling
so-
a super giant.
Yeah, kind of.
Just sequel. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Have
Thanks
a
for
happy
joining.
holidays and play some fun games wherever you are.